Western Pizza guest hotline. I'm not even going to say that this guy owes me Western Pizza, but he's our color commentator on the Rider Broadcast Network, joining us, Luke Mullinder. Luke, how you doing today, fella?
Hey, man, don't throw me under the bus like I have not already acknowledged that we have to do this, okay? It's just been a busy week, so it's coming. Just let the folks know that, hey, I've already followed up and I acknowledged my debt to you, Barney. All right.
You did. You did have a hectic couple of weeks. Kudos to you, everybody at the Red Cross, for what you guys did there. That was the displacement of people. That was a lot of work, I can only imagine. Good job, buddy.
Oh, man, it's not me. I don't do anything, man. Our boots on the ground and our volunteers, they're the working bees that make everything happen. And obviously, nobody's in a worse situation than folks that are actually displaced for their homes. So yeah. I'm just glad folks in Saskatchewan have gone home and we can focus on some football.
Here we go. Chance to go get another one, right? 1-0 on the week, as Coach Mace always said. Trevor Harris will not be dressing, let alone playing. Did that come as a surprise to you, Luke, from what you saw this week, what you heard?
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise, obviously, because Trevor Harris finished the game in Toronto. But getting back to home gets you exposure to your resources, right? Your doctors, your facilities, and I guess somewhere in the week that the decision was made that maybe this isn't the best time to go. But here's the thing: this is why you got Jake Mayer in the offseason. This is exactly why. You knew that at some point the Riders were going to need their number 2 quarterback to carry the team, whether it be for a game or a few games. Nonetheless, they needed a number 2 quarterback, and they got the best one in the that was available in the league, in Jake Mayer. So you got him. This is why. Now it's time to roll.
What are you expecting from Jake Mayer tomorrow?
I don't expect much, to be honest with you, because you don't need to expect, a fireworks display from your quarterback in this offense. What you would expect is you expect a strong running game, a strong offensive line performance. They need to get their act together when it comes to the penalties. But again, this is an offense that's rolling, and it's not doing anything spectacular. It's just being efficient. So let's keep running the football, and let's keep getting Jake Mayer in these 2nd and 4 to 6 scenarios where you can rely on the talent that you have at receiver. The more you're in 2nd and 7 plus, that's obviously the less desirable situation. If you're 2nd and 10 and beyond, or 2nd and 8, right, like all the time, that makes it tough on a quarterback. But I think this offense, if we get a solid running game going, this is a very good defense. So you don't want to be throwing the ball a lot, right? Or at least you don't want to be testing yourself deep all the time. Let's keep it short. Let's keep it simple, and let's run the ball.
Carl, texting in from Saskatoon, has a question. What did you think of the hit on Harris?
I'm not going to sit here and act like I was, Trevor Harris went through something that he shouldn't have, because in the game I saw the play that Carl's talking about. I saw the hit. I thought it was a big hit. I thought it was a late hit, but I didn't think it was a hit that was dangerous by any stretch. So, for me to come on here and be like, oh, yeah, it was a dirty hit. No, I'm not going to say that. I didn't notice anything dirty about it. I just thought it was late. But again, this is what we sign up for as football players. And Trevor, he's a resilient guy. Obviously needs a couple more days to get back on his feet properly, and he'll roll. But to say that it was a malicious hit after the fact, I'd be lying to you if I thought that.
Hey, another one. They're coming in here, Luke. TC from Medicine Hat. That's where I'm going tonight. That's where I'm going to lay my head. Hey, TC, let me know if you're up for a pint. He says Luke's call on the Alfred Walkoff TD was an all-timer, boys. I agree. A game over. Let's go. Classic. You were that was passion from the broadcast booth, Luke.
I was hyped, man. I think that at first you're a little bit shocked that the Argos got themselves in that position, and then you just, to be honest, at the end of their 2-point conversion, I was just more impressed with the Argos than anything. I thought that was such a resilient drive for them, and then you sort of look at the ball; it's about to be kicked off, and you're like, okay, let's just hope that Mario Alfred gets a good return, maybe up into the 40s, so that we're one throw away from getting Lowther into field goal range and he can redeem himself. And then the next thing you know, Mario Alfred is out the gates, and yeah, it was cool, man. I was jacked. We were up, and then Dave's the only one who actually did a good job in that stretch. He kept the play call going, but it was awesome to see. And again, I think that the challenge here, guys, is you have to recognize that you can't win every game that way, right? Like, this team is going to have to solve some of the things that are holding them back from actually playing a complete 60 minutes.
What would be those things in your mind?
Well, first of all, and I don't want to scoop my 3 keys to the game for tomorrow, but I'll tell you what.
We call it a tease in the biz.
This team needs both of their kickers to be better.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just Lowther. You need better punt performance. I think that the other thing is you can't give up 2 football fields worth of yardage in penalties. These are pro football players, right? And teams are good enough to score and get yards by themselves. They don't need the riders helping them out to the tune of 200-plus yards, right? It was crazy how many penalties this team got. And again, it's amazing to go 3-0. Like, you celebrate that, and I love when Coach May says you don't apologize for a win ever. However, you can give yourself a people's eyebrow and be like, there's some things that we got to clean up, right? And again, I do think too that at times the pass defense is a little bit lax. I would love to see a little bit more pressure on second down this game coming in, regardless of which quarterback we see. I think this is a winnable game, though.
It's Luc Mullinder, color commentator for our Rider Broadcast Network, joining us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. A few players brought it up in clips that we played this week and interviews we had from practice, Luke. And as a former player, I wanted to get your take on it. Were you surprised the Riders didn't stay out east with the Hamilton-Toronto back-to-backs?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. And it has nothing to do with being a former player. As a former player, I would have loved to stay out east for an entire week and gotten to per diem and just been by myself in Ontario. Absolutely. From a player standpoint, there'd be nothing better. It'd be like a Grey Cup without the pressure. So that'd be awesome. But as a leader in an organization at the moment, I have zero problems with the team coming back. They would have had to spend a ton of money on hotels. They would have had to spend a ton of money bringing extra players, like all the practice roster players down, all your injured players. Some of those guys would have had to come down. They would have had to spend a ton of money to bring their whole medical staff down. Like, that would have been expensive. And not to mention the per diem that you would have had to give to each player. And it's not just the 44-man roster now. Now it's the practice roster guys that you have to give $100+ a day to. I have zero problem with that team hauling their butts back here. They got the win. It was a sloppy win, but they got it. So, again, as a player, I think that's the benefit of being 40+ years old now, Barney. I look at it from both ways. I look at it from when I was young and how much I would have enjoyed an entire week out in Ontario with a hotel and per diem and just us in nature, but from a grown-up standpoint, that somebody who looks at budgets on the daily, I couldn't imagine that expense, and I would not have wanted to approve anything like that. So it was a good move on behalf of Craig Reynolds and the board.
That's a really good point. Okay, let's get to BC here, and again, not to. Maybe you can tease us with your 3 keys. What are you expecting from the Lions? Let's say. Well, first off, do you think Rourke's going to? I'm going to talk to Farhan later. I don't know, an oblique injury, man, for a quarterback. I don't think he's playing. What do you think he plays? Do you think they're playing their cards close to their chest vest region?
I don't think it's early in. I think it's too early in the season to risk a long-term injury. I think that if you're a quarterback, you have an oblique issue in like week 14, 15, and there's standings, there's bye weeks, there's playoff positioning on the line, then you might tough it out. But right now, I don't think it hurts the team to sit Rourke another week and ask Masoli to make better decisions with the football, period. I think that regardless of which quarterback goes out there, I'd love to see the Riders throw a little bit more pressure at them, especially in second down situations where it's maybe 2nd and 6+. I'd love to see some pressure there, but and some man defense on the other side of that. But you've got some good. You've got Justin McInnes, who's one of the outstanding Canadians right now. You've got Keon Hatcher out there. There's some good, but I think that we can man up this BC team. I'd like to throw whatever quarterback. I think that's BC's problem right now, Barney, is that they're an inconsistent offense, right? And they stall themselves. They put themselves in it's kind of like the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but we won last week, right? Like they're sometimes on offense, especially, they're their own worst enemies. A lot of turnovers last game, right? I think Masoli threw 2 picks, and you just can't have that.
And McInnes says we got to remember he torched us last year. I think it was the first game we played him, which was scary. Are you worried? Because again, text message here coming in, unnamed, and this is one thing that I wanted to ask you. Worried about maybe the defense, how they're playing that soft zone and they're giving teams a lot of yards, a la the Patriots back in the day. Are you worried about that at all, Luke, or do you think that's just the game? That's part of the game plan. That's the way it's going to be.
No, I'm not worried about it. Though I would like to see a little bit more pressure up front and maybe them playing a little bit more man defense on the back end when there is some pressure. But again, I think that this team really was hoping to get there with four defensive linemen, meaning pressure the quarterback. I think that at times they have managed to pressure and get the quarterback on the ground with 4 guys. But with these 2 quarterbacks, whichever one the BC rolls out, I think that the more you can get them thinking and the more you can get their eyes moving, especially pre-snap, the better it is, or the better the opportunity maybe to get a couple interceptions. So I'd love to see them play a little bit tighter. Love to see them play with a little bit of pressure, but you're starting to see that too with this league is these larger, or I don't know, softer zones, I guess it would, with defensive backs playing at the sticks. And sometimes you got to remember that coaches don't coach certain things, right? Players just naturally do them based on the speed someone's coming at them and the waggle, things like that. So who's to say? I'd love to see a little bit more man, though.
Do you, speaking of the league, do you want to comment on Luke Willson and what he had to say about the games last week and his tweet? Where do you land on that?
Yeah, I think that it was refreshing, and here's why. TSN is the major rights holder to the Canadian Football League. So naturally, TSN and the guys that represent TSN, like Sanchez, Farhan, Dave Naylor, there's only so far that they can go when they talk about the league, especially when they talk about the league in a negative light, per se. And so to hear somebody who works for TSN openly question the product on the field, I think it's great. And here's why I thought it was great. We have to figure out a way to get the conversation going in Canada about the Canadian Football League. And the one thing that we do not have as a league is the capacity. So we don't have the population and we don't have the television networks. So Canada can't roll out 4 or 5 broadcast analyst teams like the States can. And every Sunday they've got ABC, NBC, Fox, they've got ESPN, NFL Network, they've got streaming services like Amazon now. Every one of those services has a team that analyzes the game and talks about football. Canada doesn't have that capacity. So we don't create that. We can't create that competition to talk about the games, right? So we have to do it in different ways. So when you have your major broadcast rights holder, right, of the league actually having an opinion on both ends of the spectrum, that's what you need. And I was glad to see Luke Willson come out. I think that's why they hired him. I think that he knows and understands what his role needs to be. This is a guy who's played a ton of football. Yes, it's been in another league, but he's still a Canadian kid that's gone and lived the dream. He's won a Super Bowl, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the game, right? The film doesn't lie, just like he said. So I was really glad to see it, specifically from that standpoint, because remember, we don't have a bunch of networks that are openly able to debate subjects on the CFL. We only have one. CTV doesn't have their own, right? Everybody was glad that CTV was going to carry the games, right, Barney? But CTV doesn't have a crew. It's still the TSN guys. It's still Chesney and everybody telling us what to bet on, right? And that's great. I think it's even better now, though, that you have that antagonist side of things, right? Because every great piece of literature, it's got an antagonist that pushes the plot, right? Like I was tweeting about this earlier. I think it's good for the league, and I hope he does. I hope he continues to do it more.
I said I want him to double down because every good story's got a little bit of a villain. I think that's what you were getting at, right? It's hard. The only thing that came out in the last couple days, Luke, where they're starting to lose me, and it's not so much Luke, it's just everybody else that's commenting on it. It's like, no publicity is bad publicity. And I'm like, that is wrong. The marketing person in me, it's like, no, there is bad publicity. Hey, ask the Wuhan wet market if that publicity was good for them. Ask the Fire Festival if that was, you know what I mean, Luke?
No, totally. And you know what? And that's where I think that I think Luke graduates too, is he goes from questioning the league and then at some point you'd want Luke Willson to offer some solutions, just like you want everybody else to start offering solutions. Because you're absolutely right, Barney. Not every publicity piece is good publicity. And let's be honest, man. I didn't watch the last 2 Batman movies. I mean, I think Christian Bale's awesome, but I watched it for Bane and I watched it for Heath Ledger's Joker. I wasn't watching because Christian Bale was Batman. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. So, you're right. Guys like the antagonists, and it's all about putting as many viewpoints and getting the spectrum as wide as possible on the conversation points that have to do with the Canadian Football League.
Are you sitting on a lounger right now at your pool?
No, actually, I came in. I was out there earlier with my son, man. They were bouncing. It started sprinkling, so I'm a diva these days. We came inside and... but I had the barbecue going. I'll shoot you a text. Not everybody's going to get this invite, Barney, but we are planning for a little fet over here, so you guys will get the text soon.
All right, buddy. Okay, have a good call tomorrow. I appreciate you doing this, and go Riders.
Yeah, man, let's go get a win. Let's go 4-0.
There you go.
Have a great show, guys.
All right, see you later. There's our color commentator.